Sisyphus, a king known for his deceit and cunning, but he angered the gods by cheating death and tricking them. As punishment, he was condemned by Zeus to roll a boulder uphill for eternity. Every time he reached the top, the boulder would roll back down, forcing him to start again. In the ancient city of Corinth, nestled between the rugged cliffs and azure skies, there reigned a figure whose name would echo through the annals of history: Sisyphus. A man of keen intellect and boundless ambition, he strode through life with a confidence that bordered on arrogance. Some whispered that he was the smartest man of his time, a rumour likely started by himself, but wisdom, it seemed, eluded him like a fleeting shadow in the night. Sisyphus was no ordinary mortal. He was a direct descendant of Prometheus, the titan who dared to defy the gods and suffered the eternal torment for his audacity. Like his illustrious ancestor, Sisyphus possessed a boldness that bordered on recklessness and an affinity for meddling in the affairs of the gods. It was on one fateful day, beneath the skies of Corinth, that Sisyphus witnessed a scene that would alter the course of his life forever: the kidnapping of the beautiful Aegina. High above, amidst the billowing clouds, Zeus, the king of the gods, descended in the form of an eagle and snatched away Aegina, daughter of Asopus, the river god. The sight of the eagle seizing the helpless maiden stirred something within Sisyphus, a spark of ambition perhaps. Sisyphus decided to use this dire situation to his advantage. Whilst Corinth was a majestic city, famed for its beauty and prosperity, it lacked enough drinking water for the people within its walls. With a sly grin playing upon his lips, Sisyphus sought out Asopus, the grieving father of Aegina, and made him an offer that would set him on a course to change history. "I know where your daughter is," he declared, his voice dripping with honeyed deceit. "But this information comes at a price. In return, I want you to create a spring of water to supply my kingdom." Asopus, desperate to reclaim his beloved daughter, agreed to Sisyphus' terms. And with a wave of his hand, he conjured forth a spring of the purest mineral water, flowing forth from the depths of the earth like a liquid treasure. With the promise of the spring secured, Sisyphus revealed to Asopus the whereabouts of Aegina, and the river god set forth on a quest to rescue his daughter from the clutches of Zeus. Meanwhile, in the realm of Olympus, word reached Zeus's ear of Sisyphus' treachery. Enraged by the mortal's audacity, he summoned Thanatos, the personification of death itself, and ordered him to find Sisyphus and deliver him to the realm of the dead. But Sisyphus, ever the cunning strategist, was not one to be caught unawares. As he sat in his palace, contemplating his next move, he was surprised by the sudden appearance of Thanatos, looming before him like a spectre of doom. Yet instead of cowering in fear, Sisyphus greeted Thanatos with a smile, with a plan to cheat death itself. "Ah, so it seems to me my time has come," he said, his voice dripping with false humility. "I did not expect to die so young." From Thanatos' hands dropped a pair of iron shackles. The clinking sound of the two metal bands joined by a single chain echoed throughout the room, sending a chill down Sisyphus' spine. Thanatos raised the shackles and shook them in Sisyphus' face. "So you brought handcuffs along? How do you know I will not escape from them?" Sisyphus said. Thanatos raised his head and stared in anger at Sisyphus, taken aback by his forwardness. "Whomever these cuffs are bound to, they cannot be unbound. Hades himself has enchanted them to make them unbreakable." "In my experience, nothing is truly unbreakable," responded Sisyphus. Thanatos, enraged by the disrespect shown of this mere mortal, proceeded to show Sisyphus just how these shackles worked, wrapping them around his hand and closing the clasp. But as soon as the lock rang shut, Sisyphus realised his grave error. He had trapped himself. A wry smile etched itself across Sisyphus' lips, followed by a low, resounding chuckle. He quickly ran out of the room and barricaded the door with as many weights and locks as he could find. Thanatos screamed for release, but Sisyphus just laughed. With Thanatos ensnared, Sisyphus had achieved the impossible. He had cheated death itself, bending the laws of fate to his will and escaping back to the land of the living. Time passed, and in the realm of Hades, an unexpected stagnation gripped the underworld. Charon, the ferryman of souls, found his boat idle upon the motionless waters of the river Acheron. Ares, the god of war, grew restless as battles raged on without yielding any souls for his domain. For without Thanatos, no one could die, rendering his battles boring and worthless. Frustrated, Ares descended upon Corinth and forcibly liberated Thanatos. Thanatos wasted no time in executing his duty, seeking out King Sisyphus with unwavering resolve. Yet Sisyphus, anticipating his fate, had made preparations to ensure his escape, whispering to his wife the secret of his demise and instructing her to withhold the proper funeral rites, lest he be consigned to the underworld for all eternity. And so it was that when Thanatos burst through his door, Sisyphus greeted him with open arms, quietly surrendering to Thanatos, relinquishing his life as death claimed him. Upon his arrival in the underworld, Sisyphus faced the stern countenance of Hades. In a calculated plea, Sisyphus petitioned for a chance to amend his transgressions. "Noble lord," he began, "though I acknowledge my offences, they were not meant as affronts to your realm. My debt to you weighs heavy, yet I implore you for a final task. My wife, in her disdain, denied me the dignity of a proper funeral. Permit me one day in the world above to rectify this injustice and to seek retribution against her." Hades, though begrudging, granting Sisyphus' request with a stipulation though, returned by nightfall, allowing him to return to the world of the living for one final day, to seek vengeance upon his wife and set his affairs in order. And so, Sisyphus escaped death again. After his brief sojourn in the land of the dead, Sisyphus reunited with his wife in Corinth, evading the grasp of death once more. Time passed, and the kingdom of Corinth flourished under Sisyphus' rule, its coffers overflowing with wealth and its people living in peace and prosperity. For years he eluded Thanatos, but time eventually caught up with him. In his twilight years, Sisyphus faced his final encounter with the relentless god of death. Returning to the underworld, Sisyphus felt the disdain from the gods for tricking death not once, but twice. Zeus, in his wrath for being tricked, condemned Sisyphus to Tartarus, where an unending torment awaited him. Forced to toil endlessly, he laboured to push a colossal boulder from the plain to the mountaintop. Yet with each arduous effort, the boulder would cruelly slip from his grasp just as victory seemed within reach, rolling back to his starting point, forcing Sisyphus to start over and over and over and over and over for all eternity.